So I made 3 videos dedicated to building my home network setup. So go back and make sure to watch those for the full experience. But in today's video, I'm going to give you the tour of the current setup. And I will go through everything and explain everything without trying to overcomplicate things. So without further ado, let's jump upstairs and start giving the tour to you guys. So before this video even gets started, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a diagram to keep things nice and simple. So don't get confused and stay with me. So obviously first things first is that you need your internet coming into your house. This will be your telephone wire, and that will be coming into your router, which will give out the Wi-Fi. It will convert it to Wi-Fi, which you all will connect to. And then we're going to draw an Ethernet line off that to our switch. In my case, it will be the Ubiquity switch. And then from there, you can basically plug whatever you want into it. You can plug your PC, your NAS, or in my case, cloud key. And basically the cloud key just ties all the unified system together, so you connect to that to give easy access. But for this, I'm going to draw another line from that, and that is going to be our access point, more specifically a landing access point. And then we're going to draw another line, and that is going to be our downstairs access point. And then I'm going to draw another line to the switch in the shed. And then I'm going to draw another line from that to the access point in the garden. And that is literally it. That is as simple as the system can get. Do not get confused. What you may see, which I do have, is a patch panel. But do not get confused. It is still the same principle. All the wires, like from your PC, your NAS, etc., or that goes behind the patch panel and plugs into the switch. So it's nothing special. You can live without the patch panel, but it just makes things look even nice and tidier. And that is literally the system. This is as simple as they can get, really. So here it is, guys, the network setup right here, the brains of everything, and my pride and joy. There is a lot of stuff here, I'm not going to lie, but everything is essential and we're going to talk about it. So first of all, we have this case right here. I like this case. It is very big and has so many vents in it. And we have tempered glass on the front. It has its own key. Let's go ahead and open it. And we have a bunch of stuff in here. So this is a Ubiquity Unify 16 port PoE switch, and PoE stands for Power over Ethernet. Literally what it stands for. The switch provide power and internet all over these Ethernet cables right here, which is good for some Ubiquity products like their access points and their cameras. But what I also love is that their display literally tells you everything. Like PoE power, I'm using 2.5 watts of PoE power drawn from the switch, which makes sense because I've nearly filled it all up. I only have 2 ports left on the PoE side, and I've only got 1 port left on the normal. Yeah, I nearly filled all these ports up. Literally 3 ports left and that's it. But yeah, you can also customize the display as well by changing the color. Obviously I like purple, so I'm going to leave it purple. But also this has some AR features. If you scan that thing right there, and it will show you everything that your ports are connected to. It's actually pretty sick for the AR features of this. Moving on down, we have this thing right here. This is the Unify controller. It ties every Unify product that you own into this. So if I connect to this, this will show me everything about my Ubiquity switch to my access points, my upstairs, my downstairs, my outside, as well as the switch in the shed. Like, that controller will show me everything, so that controller is important. Moving on, next is our Ethernet cables right here. These are Cat 5e Ethernet wires, and I had to get them in purple. I literally dedicated myself to find purple Ethernet wiring, and I found some, and I made these up on my own. Like, just look at this baby one right here. Like, just look at this baby one. Yeah, made most of these up myself. And this right here is a patch panel, and I don't really have a definition for a patch panel, but the patch panel does serve a purpose to tidy up all of your wiring. The cables come out your switch into the patch panel, and whatever you want plugged into it comes out of the back right here, and they split off into every section of the house wherever you want plugged into. As you can see, they're very nice, tidy and organized. But technically you don't need a patch panel. You can just have them loose and dangling, just like this one here. Like, I don't even know what this one is, but all of your wires could just be like this, but that just looks untidy and messy. Whereas a patch panel, this just looks clean, easy and simple. And all of them are literally named, so I know which one is which, unlike this one here, which I actually don't even know what it does, which the 2 lights do blink. So moving on down here, we have our Synology NAS right here, and I absolutely love this NAS. I love it. I use this every single day, 24/7. I love it. Moving on across, we have this Western Digital NAS here. This is my dad's, so that's mine, and this is my dad's. Kind of rubbish, not gonna lie. Doesn't even work, but we keep it plugged in. And this right here is our DVR for all of our security cameras across the house. Even though I do want to try Unify's cameras, but they're just too expensive, and you need like some sort of dongle, like a little box for it, so it's not worth it. But yeah, our DVR for our cameras. And we also brought this shelf off Amazon for like about £20, and it's rack mounted. So moving on down, we have this Apple time capsule. It is very old. Like, when did this come out? 2007 maybe? But this thing is old, but I still have it. I use this to back up all of my Mac stuff on this, like my MacBook Air, my Mac Mini. I back up everything onto this, and I'll still use it, as well as my NAS as well. But yeah, I love it. Right here is our router, and the router is the start of everything. Next, I added these LED strips in just on both sides to just give it a little bit more of a cool glow to it. I mean, step back, like that just looks sick right there. Before it was just dark, and I'll just have to use this this light right here for it, just to point it. And yeah, but I don't need to do that with these LED strips now. Moving on up here, we have these two fans right here, and these two are very powerful fans. They move a lot of air, trust me, they move a lot of air. And these two fans cool down everything on the inside of the cabinet. Even during summer, like in summer we don't actually get that much heat, so everything is fine on the inside. And these two fans connect to this thermostat right here, and I usually set this to 25. And if we actually turn it on now, fans turn on, and it's not that loud honestly, but they do move some air, trust me. And then it just vents out the top, and there's a lot of air coming out of that right now, like a lot. But the idea for fans is to pull air from the bottom vent and cool everything all the way up, and then just vent it out the top. And we have a little thermometer right here, says 29 degrees up here, which is probably accurate because I am dying of sweat. Yeah, pretty cool. Everything is fine during the summer, and it is completely fine in the loft or the attic. Moving on down here, this is a UPS. It's essentially a massive battery, and everything is actually plugged into the UPS. If the electric trips out, or if we have a blackout or something, the UPS will turn on and supply all of this and all of the PoE stuff with power and internet for at least 1 hour. I tested it. The UPS actually does make a difference. And for these NASes as well, I can turn them off manually, because you don't want your NASes or servers just turning off instantly. You need to shut them down properly, so at least I can do that. And this right here is actually my old Netgear switch, 24 port or PoE. This was my first switch before I got to that Unify one right there. And this right here is my old network case before we actually had this one, but this was like too small and it was basically filled. So yeah, but I use this for storage for all of my tools, Netgear tools, crimpers, Ethernet crimpers right there. You got the patch panel crimper and some screwdrivers and everything else in there. Then we've got this screwdriver and drill that lives up here to do all this. But let's actually turn it off so I can show you. So let's just turn it off at the wall here. As you can see, starts beeping and it makes a buzzing noise for the inverter. But as you can see, all this is still running fine. It is literally seamless transition from when the power goes off and that kicks in. Literally seamless. Up here, we have a TV screen. Don't ask me why I have a TV hanging in the loft, but we do. I wanted one, and all this is actually running off of that right there. That is a Raspberry Pi 4, and that powers everything up here. And we have my old gaming keyboard and my old gaming mouse. So if I'm busy up here messing around with this, and I can watch YouTube on this. But yeah, subscribe to the channel. We've passed 300 subscribers finally. And yeah, subscribe to the channel and also subscribe to my other social medias as well. But yeah, and I also added in this camera right here, and that camera is also PoE, power over Ethernet. And the camera's only there so I can just keep an eye on all of this stuff. If anything was to happen, I can just log in onto the camera and just see, well, everything really. And we also added in like these floorboards here, and we've got like this massive one right here, because obviously that's where we're going to be standing a lot, so we just made a big one up. Then we've got like these little ones that are trailing all across in the loft. But yeah, pretty sick, screwed down, solid. And we also have like this NFC tag right here with a automation on it. So if I come up here and tap my phone on it, it will automatically connect me to the controller. So then I can see everything that's going on with the Ubiquiti products. Pretty sick, right? So now I've just gave you the tour of the cabinet. We're going to move on to the rest of our Ubiquiti products that we have. So we have this access point up here on the ceiling, and this is the landing access point, and it is a long range access point. So technically speaking, I don't need another access point across the house because this is a long range one. So you do tend to drop a couple of bars around the house. But this one does supply the entire upstairs with Wi-Fi, and even if you go outside out on the front, you still get Wi-Fi, but like I said, you drop a couple of bars, which is a big no-no. So moving on downstairs, we have this access point right here, and this access point is quite old based on the logo right there. But the Unify system does just detect it, so this can't be that old. And this one here is a Pro version, so therefore you have 2 Ethernet ports on the back. But I know on the new ones you also have a USB in the middle as well. But like I said, this one is quite old, but it still works and is still functional. But before we had this one over here. Now this is a normal standard Unify access point, as you can tell by the logo. But this one is a green access point. So therefore it is old, but it is newer than that one. However, this one cannot do PoE from your switch. Unlike that one, you have to have a PoE injector. And this is a long range access point as well, but it can only do 5 gigahertz, not 2.4, unlike the rest of the access points. So here we are in the shed, and we have this switch right here. This is a Flex Mini switch. I do like how small it is, and this gets its power and internet from this Ethernet wire here. This directly comes from the switch and powers and gives internet through here. As you can see, we're already using a bunch of them already. And over here we have this PoE injector, because this switch cannot give out PoE, it only takes in from this one. So we had to use this PoE injector for, so this is the garden access point, and it gives, well, the garden Wi-Fi, but it is an omnidirectional one, so it is spitting out Wi-Fi in every direction rather than the circular ones just spitting it down. So basically, no matter where you go across the house, in the garden or out at the front, you will be getting Wi-Fi. My setup is probably completely overkill. It is my pride and joy, and I actually enjoy doing this sort of thing. I've spent many hours up in that loft doing that setup and spent quite a bit of money on it. But in the end, it worked out and I'm quite happy with it. Again, overkill, but I don't care. So that's going to be the end of the video. If you guys have stayed with me, then thank you. And I hope you enjoyed the setup, even though it is probably an overkill system. I like it, so that's how it's going to be. So if you enjoyed, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys later in another video.